Hey everybody, AZ80s girl here, and I am starting my She-Ra Princess of Power videos. And as you can hear, I am playing the She-Ra theme song from the cartoon. And I'm going to show you my case that we have to go through. That is my case. It is full of every She-Ra item available out there that I could afford at this point in time. So that is all my She-Ra stuff we'll be going over. And that was already my gem items I went through. So you can check those videos out. But we are going over She-Ra and Swiftwind. Alright, I'm going to pause that. So today we're going over She-Ra and Swiftwind, and I'm going to give you some easy feedback and talk about who She-Ra is and where she's from and all of that. I don't claim to know everything about She-Ra, but you can look that up for yourself. Wikipedia, there's a lot of websites out there, books, everything like that. So I'm just going to be going over things that I know, that I've learned over the years. As you can see, my shirt, and this is the original She-Ra from the cartoon, what they actually looked like versus what the toys look like, and I'll go over that as well. Why that's different, I don't know. So my son and I have just been starting to go through the She-Ra DVD collection. We're on season 1. We went through season 1 and volume 1. We're on season 1, volume 2 now, and if you get the set, it opens up. I'll show you real quick. It comes with some drawings, and it opens with how they all begin. The Sword of She-Ra is the first episode. They open up, and it's pretty cool visually. My son's 5, and he loves it. The first 5 episodes are pretty awesome for him because He-Man's in them, and they explain how She-Ra became She-Ra. Now, I don't know if everybody knows, but I guess they decided to make the She-Ra episodes because they were pretty much done with all the He-Man. He-Man was in 83, of what I found, and She-Ra started in 85 and continued to about 87, is what I read. So what they had done was that they show that Hordak, back in the day, took She-Ra when she was a baby. She's twin sister to Adam, who is He-Man, and her real name is Adora. And Hordak stole her, took her to Etheria. They came from Eternia, which is He-Man, Etheria, which is She-Ra's world. And she officially was part of the Horde with Hordak initially until she was about 19, is what I heard. She was 19 when He-Man came to find her to give her her sword. So that's why it's called the Sword of She-Ra from the Sorceress. Now I'm going to go over the toys and just, go through what I've known and learned over the years myself. And I had these when I was a child. I'd say when I was about 6 or about 7 or 8. I can't remember. But there's a picture of me when I was little with the castle and She-Ra and everything, and I loved them because she was, a hero. So, and they didn't make a lot of the hero girls that were actually pretty dolls back then, versus the giant He-Man dolls that were all ripped and giant muscles. And I'm gonna show a few of my He-Man dolls guys that I have, that my son has, when I do the Bo episode, just to show the differences of the stature versus the actual She-Ra's, because I've seen a lot of people get those confused, that Bo is something else. Bo is part of He-Man and stuff like that. Another thing that with She-Ra, again, she was Adora, and now she is She-Ra, they get confused with a lot of the Golden Girls dolls. No, not the show with Blanche, but the Golden Girls line of dolls that are about the same height, and they're about 6 inches tall as well. The Golden Girls have a lot of different similarities. I don't know if they came out at the same time or they kind of jumped the bandwagon of strong female characters, but they have more frightening features to me. They have a lot of crazy tattoos all over the face and legs. There's a lot of men in that one, in their line of toys with beards and things like that. So I never collected any of those. I just kept with my She-Ra dolls. Another thing that I'm going to show you is that if you are interested in starting your own collection, I got this one. This is called the She-Ra Collector's Inventory off of Amazon. And this is by Hilary Di Piano, if I'm saying this correctly. And you can go through this. sorry, my printer's going off. And it has a lot of colorful pictures, some history. She doesn't claim to know everything either, but it's extremely helpful. Exactly what is all in, like what she has found that you can collect. And I have a lot of these, and it's a great thing to have. It's kind of out of date with what they think knit and packaged means, and the complete and loose and all of that. So I can touch on that in a little bit. And then, so basically in the 1984, they started doing the toys themselves, and then did the actual cartoons. So the cartoons are 85 to 87. Now I did notice with these is that some of them are not an actual order. We noticed one was they just they already had one of the Cast a Spell in it, and then several episodes later they just introduced Cast a Spell. So you can tell they're a little out of order on some of them. So anyway, I would get this. It's great. It helps figure out, and she lists also what every single thing they came with. So if you're looking to complete a doll and have your collection like I have, it's a great resource. Again, there's a ton of other ones out there as well, websites and such. Okay, so I'm going to go over the She-Ra dolls, and I've used these little stands to display them. They're like the little 4-inch Kaiser stands, whatever they're called. 4 to 6 inch or so. No, 4. I'm sorry, 3 to. I'd say 3 to 4. 3.5 inch Kaisers, I think they are, and these hold them good. Now I'm going to take her clothes off here, which she won't be naked because you'll see why. And I'll go into everything here gently. And then we'll go over Swiftwind. Okay. Now when you see She-Ra dolls out there, and there's plenty on eBay. There's an influx, and that's one thing I did read, is that they just had such an influx of toys made back in the day, in the 80s, of He-Mans, that every single person got those. So when the She-Ra dolls came out, those were being bought up like hotcakes as well, and then they just made them so much that it was an influx of too many toys. So everybody knows who well, I would hope everybody knows who she is, but not everybody collected them, but there's a lot out there. So if you are looking, they're on eBay. There's like 3 to 4 separate series of toys. I know the last series of toys, which she goes over in the book, that they show on the back of a card, is that they produced a few other toys, which they actually never did, because they just lost interest. So some of those rare ones on the very last series 3 of characters that came out are super rare, especially Spinnerella. Spinnerella I've seen can go just herself without any accessories, can be sold for about $500. So that's how rare they are. I have seen her brand new in the package actually go for $3,500. It's crazy. So I do have Spinnerella. She doesn't have her complete accessories, but I will show you what she looks like in another episode. So when you did get your doll, they're all dressed up. They're on a card, which is, the package it came in. And then it had the bubble, the clear plastic bubble, sealed to the card. Okay, so she came with her outfit. They all came with a comb here. Bo did not come with a comb because he does not have brushable hair. He has the hard hair, plastic. All the girls have brushable hair here, so hers is a little ratty. But hers is like a dirty blonde there, and that's pretty long. And they each came with a mini comic. Now this one that came with She-Ra is called The Story of She-Ra. So this actually is about the Sword of She-Ra that was in that episode. But these are more drawn as what the dolls actually look like versus what the cartoon actually looks like. I've looked everywhere and tried to find why the dolls look different than the cartoon, and I can't find any reason. I'm sure there might be some reason out there, I couldn't find it. So she looks different as Adora. In the cartoon, she's all in red, and she's got red boots. And as She-Ra, she changes. This is pretty close to what she changes into. Not exact. And the other girls look totally different. Some of them look really totally different. The new She-Ra and He-Man dolls that are coming out, mainly She-Ra, because that's mainly what I know about, is that all their Masters of the Universe classics that are coming out just recently, those are exactly to the T of what they look like on the cartoon, what I'm seeing. And the only reason I don't have any to compare is I'm not a big fan of those. I like the smaller petite dolls. Like I said, these are 6 inches, and those dolls that are coming out to me, the women, the girls look pretty masculine. They're kind of ripped as well. They don't do it. They look too rough for me. So I just like a tiny pretty doll myself. So again, this is Adora, sorry, right now. They all have painted on clothes and boots and cuffs. She has some makeup on her face. It's like blue eyes and pretty light, pretty doll. Now she's got a gem in the middle of her chest there, about closer to his stomach. And all the dolls, I think all of the dolls have that. And again, I'm going to go over different segments of showing all the dolls. This is just about She-Ra and Swiftwind. So you will find if you're collecting that she may have marks. Mine has a little mark on her leg. Some paint loss to her boots and cuffs and just any of the paint on her. Some shoes, I have noticed some oxidation possibly to this color, which it'll change it like a darker gray to this copper color. So, you know, it's going to happen over time. No earrings or anything like that. I think a lot of them came with rubber bands to keep their hair back. So you may find that a lot of the dolls have like a disintegrating rubber band coming out, which isn't a big deal. Just pick it out, you know. Hopefully it's not too crusted to the hair, and try to comb it out gently. So that's what they start off like. Now to put the rest of her outfit on, I'm going to go with her skirt. She came with her skirt first. So this is it's got one snap button, like a thin white nylon type jaggedy skirt, which you may find it's rough edge, so it can rip, get stains on it pretty easily. And then it has a sparkly sticker on that actual belt part. So I'm going to put that on her, just goes around her waist, and you snap it on the back. And with She-Ra, the doll itself, they all come with the switch turn, the punch action kind of thing. I think a lot of the He-Mans did that, so they kept with that with these dolls, the punch action. They don't, you know, bend their knees or anything. Their legs bend up and down, and then their arms, one at a time. And I'll go over in other segments of the differences of the She-Ras that came out. The original She-Ra doll, just one arm, the arms go up separately, okay? And you'll see with another line of Starburst She-Ras and others that they both come up at the same time, okay? So definitely the original doll was just one arm at a time. And all the other dolls do that, like Glimmer and those dolls. So the next thing you'll find, and I have a She-Ra next to me to compare. There's different releases of She-Ra. So this was her original cape that she came with. It's like an iridescent on a red cape. And here's the elastic. You gotta be really careful with this, as it can tear and just wear over time, just stretching it over their arms to get it on her. And then it has, this is supposed to be how it is, to go on each side of her neck. So that's her nylon white little fanned out collar. So just to compare, I have another She-Ra here. So I will show you, see this, both her arms come up at the same time. And her cape is a little iridescent on that side, but extremely dark red on that side. So you see that there is a difference, a slight difference. I think if anything, it looks better, they're getting better. But there is a slight difference to some of the releases of the She-Ras. As well as their face is a little different. Again, that's another episode we'll go over, because there's a lot of episodes I'll be going over. You saw my case. So when I put the things on my dolls, I always put their arms back and slide over each of the elastic part, okay, over each arm. And this is a little looser, and then put them straight. So the more delicate, the better. Now just take her hair and put it in between the two little slips of collar thing here. And then there you go, pull them forward. Okay, so you got it, a rock in there. Okay, ooh, she's got curly part hair there. So you got it over, and it's around her neck there. Fine. One of her hands, just to say, one of her hands is closed here to the right, on the right side for her sword. And here's her sword. It's like a coppery, like gold plastic sword, which has a little gem in it. And I wish these were a little more elaborate, as her sword is her main source of power. As you heard on the theme song by the Honor of Grayskull, she changes into She-Ra and she says, I am She-Ra. And He-Man says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. So, there's two different things. So, okay, so she holds her sword in that hand. And then they're all the girls, I would say all of them, most of them, came with a shield. Now, they never use the shield. A lot of the girls don't have a shield. I do know that I've seen in episodes currently that She-Ra's sword turns into a shield, which is amazing. So that was one time I've seen it. So they has a little clasp on the back to clip onto their arm, like their upper arm. And you do need, again, be careful with that as well, as if they stretch over time and may not clip on as well anymore. So they clip on like that. And then she also came with her crown. So her crown looks like this, with the dark, just matching all the other darker, you know, brown gold look. And it's a little clasp around her head, her front of her face. Now, I've seen in commercials, like back in the 80s, that they initially thought that She-Ra would wear it upside down to view, I'm not sure if it's to speak to the animals or what, but in the cartoons, her abilities, besides being strong and fast and super strong and all that, jumps high, is that she can speak to animals telepathically. So you can put it on her like that. And also her touch, if she touches animals, she can heal the animals. I do know, I don't think this stuck well with the girls. I don't think I ever used it like that. So I just put it back upside down, you know, back the way I want it so she can see through it. And that's how I display it. So whatever way you want to do it, and that's how she wears it. So either way, because there's something to do. Now I know He-Man, he doesn't really, besides being strong and beefcake, he doesn't have any abilities like She-Ra does like that. She has those extra abilities that I've seen in the cartoon so far. I've seen her sword change into a plethora of things. Like I said, the sword changes into rope, lasso, grappling hook, giant handcuff. It blows snow, it blows smoke. Like I said, shield, and oh god, just a bunch of stuff so far that I've seen. So I'd rather have this sword than He-Man's sword any day. So anyway, she once she has changed into She-Ra, she blows her magic through the gem into Swiftwind. His original name is Spirit, and so we'll go into Spirit. Okay. Now Spirit, and I don't have the box to this horse, but I do have Bo's horse in his box. So you know, I'll show you that in another episode. So I'll take off Spirit's and Swiftwind's stuff here, and they're kind of catchy and tricky here, so I'll be really careful. Okay, and they're kind of a pain. If you have these horses, you'll know what I mean with the wings. Now, in the actual cartoon, Spirit is, I'm not sure if you can see very well, but Spirit is white with colorful wings when he changes, and it is a boy, so it's white, pink, rainbow colored wings. And again, not sure. Now, to make it stand out, possibly they didn't make this horse white, so they made it pink, possibly maybe to be more appealing to girls. I'm not sure. So again, another thing why they're all kind of different. Pink plastic horse with brushable hair and tail, blue eyes, and then you'll see if you're collecting these, there's a seam here and a seam down here, and they can, you know, show wear and discoloration over time, and, you know, split, and the hair might be sticking out in different areas. So all the horses came with a brush and a comb. So this is the brush and comb that it came with. These are the two. They usually match the things that it came with. And then, so right now it's Swiftwind, and it is a boy. So when she changes, this is the mask that goes on to Swiftwind, onto Spirit to become Swiftwind, to make him a unicorn. Now, I'm not going to get into whole alicorn, unicorn, Pegasus thing. I'm just going to call him a unicorn for now. I had a lesson from my little niece the other day about that it's an alicorn, but I'm just going to call a unicorn for now because that's what they called him. With his reins that are attached. Now, these can come apart, so when you're looking for these, just, you know, make sure that they're all together. Now, to get this on, it's almost like a trick. You got to put his head through, and there's a space for his ears. You almost got to just wiggle it just enough to get his ears through. So, there. Okay. Pull his hair out. There you go. He's on like that. Now with the wings in the saddle. So I'm going to show you what the wings look like here. Now it's a dark goldish bronze saddle, hard plastic, and it has 2 slots for the wings. Okay. And the wings are this color here. And I have the different Swiftwinds as well, so I'll compare those later. But there actually is 2 separate ones, a left and a right, because they need to buckle. One slips through the buckle itself to hold on to the horse. You will find that these rip over time, so if they're, split, it's just because they're kind of hard to keep on sometimes. I've noticed some with over time that they, from age, start to feel sticky. I've noticed that with all of the horses that I have, that a lot of the wings get sticky. I don't know if it's from the plastic or some coating that they sprayed on it back then. I've tried cleaning them and it just comes back over time. So just look out for that. That's common to find. So let's put the wings back on. Let's see if I put it on, do it right here. Oops. Okay, so they just slide through, push through. Okay. Alright, so that's what it looks like there. And then you pick up the horse and you work underneath for a bit. Make sure that don't slipping out of the saddle itself. And I usually go through the first hook and then I go back in so it's locking underneath the horse. Now, however far you can get it to keep it to stay, magnificent. Because I noticed with the other horses over time, the new ones that they released, they changed it a little bit to have them angled to fit better. So as long as you can get it to stay to display, that's fine. That's as far as I'm going to go, and it should stay on there. Okay, so this is Swiftwind, and you will find, some paint loss will happen on the hooves and stuff like that over time as well. So anyway, okay, so Shira's ready to jump on her horse and fly everywhere. So there we go. There's going to be a lot of different things we're going to go over and come up as I'm still watching the cartoons. I haven't made it to the 2nd season yet, and I don't know if as a kid I made it that far, seeing all the complete episodes. So it's quite an experience for me. So stay tuned. We'll next go over bow and arrow and cowl.